Hello, this is video number 244, Withdrawal Warriors Worldwide Fellowship, Purpose and Identity. 1. We are an international fellowship of individuals who have chosen to discontinue the use of prescribed psychotropic drugs. 2. Our sole purpose is to support one another, both individually and collectively, as we each travel the road to freedom from the use of prescribed psychotropic drugs and their adverse effects, both while we are taking the drugs and as we withdraw from them. 3. For the purposes of this fellowship, we are not licensed medical doctors, therapists, counselors, psychologists, or licensed in any other medical occupation or profession, nor do we claim to be licensed medical staff with respect to this fellowship. 4. We do not offer medical advice. As such, it is important for each member of this fellowship to be in contact with appropriate medical staff as he or she undertakes the endeavor to discontinue the use of prescribed psychotropic drugs. 5. This fellowship has no opinion concerning the current general practice of prescribing psychotropic drugs or any other social issues. 6. All opinions and information offered in this fellowship will be based on existing, generally accepted information in the literature, personal observation, and personal experience. 7. There are no dues, fees, or any other financial aspect related to this fellowship. Pillars and Truths. 1. Our journey from the discontinuation of prescribed psychotropic drugs through withdrawal to a place of wellness is a process. 2. We are all different. No one else can feel what you feel. Each person goes through and experiences the process in a manner that is unique to him or her. No two individuals experience the process in exactly the same way. We will each have a different story to share when we reach wellness. We will each have different symptoms with different intensities. We will each notice improvement in different ways and at different times. We will each have our own time frame for healing. 3. There is no perfect way to taper from psychotropic drugs. However, under no circumstances is it wise to cold turkey from psychotropic drugs. 4. The brain is continually trying to heal in its own unique way during withdrawal from psychotropic drugs, even though there are times when it feels like no healing is occurring. 5. Even though the myriad of strange, intense symptoms during withdrawal causes us to feel or believe we have developed a mental disorder, we have not. 6. Often, the symptoms of withdrawal lead us to fear that we have developed some other empirically diagnosable condition. In such cases, it is best to be checked by a doctor, if only to provide us peace of mind. 7. Currently, the passing of time is the only known way to effect healing from psychotropic drugs, although there is hope that a quicker way to healing will be discovered in the future. As such, withdrawal is a matter of surviving until wellness is reached. Anything that helps us to pass time is beneficial. 8. Acceptance that we are in withdrawal and that it will take time is necessary in reaching wellness. Blaming ourselves or others for our current predicament does no good and is counterproductive. It is what it is and it will get better. 9. It is absolutely necessary for us to keep hope alive during the withdrawal process. We need to reach out to anything or anyone to maintain hope. 10. It is important for us to seek positive, hopeful input from wherever we can find it. Places of negativity and confrontation of any sort should be avoided. 11. We must be careful of what we read and believe. It is important to realize that nearly everyone in the withdrawal forums and Facebook groups is also in withdrawal. They are also afraid and have cognitive issues. For this reason, harmful misinformation and fear abound. In withdrawal, the power of suggestion is enormous. And 12. All of the bizarre, painful, fearful thoughts and feelings we have in withdrawal are distortions caused by the withdrawal itself and have no place in reality. Okay, the promises. These promises are primarily from Alcoholics Anonymous, pages 83 and 84 with slight modification. 1. If we painstakingly adhere to these pillars and truths, we will each make it to the place of wellness and will be amazed when we get there. 2. We are going to know a new freedom and a new happiness. 3. We will not regret the past nor wish to shut the door on it. 4. We will comprehend the word serenity and we will know peace. 5. No matter how far down the scale we have gone, we will see how our experience can benefit others. 6. That feeling of uselessness and self-pity will disappear. 7. We will lose interest in selfish things and gain interest in our fellows. 8. Self-seeking will slip away. 9. Our whole attitude and outlook upon life will change. 10. Fear of people and of economic insecurity will leave us. 11. We will intuitively know how to handle situations which used to baffle us. 12, we will realize that God has done for us what we could not do for ourselves. Are these extravagant promises? We think not. They will always materialize as we reach wellness. Okay, as you can see, I'm back home. Got home yesterday about, I think it was about 1:30 in the afternoon. We left there at about 9:30. He drives very fast. He's a fast driver. Okay, Saturday, our last day there, Saturday, I guess the last video I was talking about the enormous pancake I got at Mother's Cupboard for breakfast. So I thought the next day I'll try something else, so I did the frittata. I ordered, you can't order a whole one because it's gigantic apparently. I ordered a quarter of a frittata. It must have been 2 pounds of mostly potatoes, pepperoni, and sausage. There was some broccoli and some peppers mixed in, but it was a huge plate of frittata. It was good. It's really, really good. So I had the gigantic pancake and the frittata. Saturday afternoon we went to another movie, The Mummy. That was pretty cool. I liked Wonder Woman better, but The Mummy was pretty cool. The Mummy herself as a woman's The Mummy, and she was really good. She didn't say that much, but she played the woman played a good part. Walmart. We went to Walmart on it was Saturday. Harold had to buy some shorts for the concert like that night. So he was there looking at shorts and stuff, and I was kind of roaming around the store, and I went over to one shelf and there were some hats there, and I thought, well, maybe I should get a hat and like do like the whole ZZ Top thing. So I got a black hat there. I bought a black hat. We went to the jazz festival then. The jazz bands were great. Both days the jazz bands were incredible, really. Then they had a country western Saturday night. Not into country western all that much. Neither is Harold. They came on. They're really, really talented. Really, really good for for country western. We got up and we went up and got something to. I think we got some ice cream or something like to wait until the next show came on, the next group, and we were coming back, and like the guy who was singing the song was saying, I wish I were in Austin. And just right before I was going to say it, Harold said it. So do I. I wish you were in Austin too. And we cracked up because that was pretty funny because I was going to say exactly the same thing. But for country western, they were very, very good. So then Todd Rundgren came on after that, and that's what we were waiting for. Todd Rundgren from like back in the 70s. Like he had some really cool stuff, but he came on. It was weird. It was more of a preachy political rant rather than music. It really wasn't. To me, it was not. There was nothing entertaining or musical about it, really. I mean, so he played his first song, and I looked at Harold and said, what was that? Because it just didn't, it gave me a bad feeling. And after 6 or 7 songs, Harold looked at me and says, I'm tired of being preached to. Why don't we leave? So we did. We left early. But the jazz, all of the jazz both nights was excellent. And of course, the highlight was Ramsey Lewis on Friday night. That was awesome. He's just awesome. He's 82 years old. That was great. I did wear my black hat Saturday night. Got a lot of looks and comments. The whole ZZ Top thing. It was really bizarre. Got a lot of laughs out of that. Let me see what else. Okay, got home yesterday. Penguins won last night. They won the Stanley Cup. They won the game 2-0. A little bit of the Predators actually. To me, they scored a goal. They scored the first goal, but then it was called because the referee lost sight of the puck. But they actually did, as soon as the whistle blew, they put the puck in there. But that's the way the puck goes sometimes. So the Pens won 2 Stanley Cups now in a row. That's pretty cool. Very hot day here today. Record high temps. Did a workout this morning for the first time in a long time. My vincas, the seeds that I planted, they germinated. They're coming up. They look pretty good. Got lots of like little colonies out on the island that if they hang in there, it's going to look pretty cool. I got an email from my former boss, like back when I was employed. The guy I worked for, he was a scientist too. He was probably the only person in the whole building that really understood a lot of the things I talked about. Anyway, he saw the thing about Tiger Woods, like Tiger Woods got into trouble. He was DUI, like Xanax and some opioids and stuff, and he sent it to me just because he knows, I went through what I went through, and he was just asking me about it. And I was going back to like our think tank days. Our group was very much like a think tank back when I was employed. And I was thinking, like I have said in my videos, that if I had the resources, I think, you know, we could get a group together to like crack this nut, figure this out. And he was the one that he was always like in charge. And he could get people together that knew lots of stuff, and we came up with a lot of outside the box stuff. So he was asking me about the website because I had responded to his Tiger Woods email. He was asking me about the website, and so I sent him the link to it and that. But he was really good. Our think tank days were good. They were good days. But yeah, I told him too that, you know, things that I have done, I've tried to reach out to people who could possibly get involved in the research, and I said I haven't gotten any responses, and that's something he understands. He's very cognitive, like the whole money prestige thing in this country and the big pharma aspect of all this. He's pretty aware of that. See what else? I got a phone call a bit earlier, about an hour ago, from someone I had helped through withdrawal over a couple years. She called to thank me and tell me she is finally completely well. She is now doing phone consultations for a fee, which is pretty cool. That's interesting. It's another person that is available here. It's funny because she lives in Rochester, New York. And she was actually last Thursday, when Harold and I got to Syracuse, she actually was in Syracuse, she said. And her parents wanted to stay for the jazz festival, but she didn't. So it would have been nice to meet up with her and talk to her some, because I don't get the opportunity to talk to people in person that have gotten well, that I've helped. So anyway, she's doing phone consultations now for, it's a pretty modest fee, really. I think her first hour consultation is free, and then, you know, she does charge after that. So if you would like to know more specifics there, I think it's important to have people for you to call. Since I hardly ever take calls, I don't do a lot of that. It's just, I was looking at my list the other day of people whose phone numbers I have. It's like, I think there's like 120 phone numbers on there. It's incredible. I didn't realize I had talked to so many people. Anyway, I have 2 emails here that I got since the last video. I'll read those. The first one I actually responded to in writing, but I'll read the response here and then talk a little bit about it. Let me see. Okay, email says, thank you for writing me back, and sorry it has taken so long to reply. I've had a lot going on lately. Wow, our stories are so similar. Like I shared my story with her some, and some of the same kinds of things. Just thank you for sharing that with me. I have another question I would like to pick your brain about. So at about 29 months to 31 months, lasted 3 months, I had a monstrous wave, which I attribute to the B12 shot I had gotten, as I had mentioned in my previous email. I am now at 33 months. After that wave, I've had a great window, I guess you could say. I am wondering, though, if my pattern has now changed, though, as I haven't really gone back into any waves for 5 or 6 weeks now, but I have had some down days or hours. I'll usually bounce back quicker now, it seems. If I have a down day, then the next day is usually better again. Or I've noticed lately I'll wake up in the morning with adrenaline and feeling crappy, and it will feel like it's going to be a rough day, and I'll think to myself, oh, here we go, another wave. But within an hour, it goes away, and I have a decent day with only minor symptoms that can be ignored or managed. What does this mean? Okay, are these still waves, just shorter, or has my healing changed into a more gradual pattern? It's hard to tell. I recall Baylissa saying one time that patterns can change as healing takes place. I know I shouldn't overthink it and just be grateful that things are getting better, but I'm curious about what you think, and if you have heard others experiencing something similar and going on to heal soon after, or at least relatively soon. For withdrawal, you know, like 6 months from now, but I'm starting to see the healing now. Anyway, let me know your thoughts. Thank you. Okay, my response was this, and I'll have a little bit else to say too. You are clearly healing, and even acknowledging that you are noticing it. That by itself is huge progress. I know a lot of times, like, okay, well, I'll just continue with this. Okay, most people will not admit they are healing until they are absolutely certain of it, as evidenced by symptoms disappearing and or becoming much less intense. That's how it was for me. I really did not acknowledge it until I had significant reduction of symptoms, even though others noticed it in me first, which really irritated me when they said they could tell I was getting well because I didn't feel well. But they would keep telling me that. I have seen people heal in all kinds of ways. Gradual from the very beginning, gradual after a very long time with no improvement, windows and waves, very rapid improvement after a very long time with no improvement, and combinations of these. We are all different with respect to every aspect of withdrawal. That includes healing patterns. My hope is that your healing will become gradual, which is the way we heal from so many other things. Once I started to heal, it was gradual and then accelerated after about 6 or 7 months. Okay, it is happening for you and you are noticing it. That is awesome. Once I started to heal, I could feel a little bit at 10 months, and then it just started to gradually get better. And then at about month 14, 15, it really took off. Okay, the part of the email says, oh, here we go, another wave, but within an hour it goes away, and I have a decent day with only minor symptoms that can be ignored or managed. What does this mean? One thing it means is healing happens even though we are usually expecting the same old Groundhog Day of suffering. That's kind of what I got out of her statement there. It's like, we kind of, a lot of times I would wake up, and I tried not to do this. I would wake up and think, like, oh, here we go again, another Groundhog Day. It's going to be miserable. And then at some point it did, even though that was my mindset. And that's part of withdrawal. I think that's part of the mindset of the withdrawal itself. I did, like, out of nowhere, like, I would notice things getting better, especially mental stuff. The anxiety, the fear, the terror when I would wake up, the depression. It would start, there were like indications here and there. Once in a while I would smile or laugh, or I could actually feel something decent, some kind of feeling. So that's, to me, it's an indicator we are always healing, whether we feel it or not. And even when we think, oh, it's going to be another bad day, at some point things do actually start to improve, and we notice it. So that's kind of what I got out of that statement. It's an indicator that we are healing, whether we feel it or not. But the day does come when you do finally feel it. So it's not like she's on her way here. But I've seen people heal in so many different ways, and different time frames, different symptoms. It's wild. It's just crazy. One of the things that's always been strange to me is, like, you go for like some certain amount of time, and then all of a sudden you get hit with a symptom you never had before. That's just one of the strange things. It's so variable. It's amazing. But she's on her way. I can tell. That's an awesome thing. Okay, the next email here. Let me see how much time I have. Okay, 18. Hi, Dawn. 13 months has come and gone for me, and I'm in a worse place than I was at 6 months? ? My fatigue and inability to feel joy or excitement is so bad that I do nothing but lie on my couch, unable to even have conversations with my family. I wake every morning feeling absolutely terrible and spend hours just trying to get up. I've recently had a flu, which may have exacerbated my symptoms, but my biggest fear is the fact that I'm still so unwell this far out. After researching other benzo buddies that were still very unwell at this point, it appears 90% of them are still on the form many years later and are now in protracted. The people that healed by the 18-month point all seem to be doing progressively better at the 12-month mark, not regressing as I feel I am. One thing that has improved is I'm able to work slightly more, but this has come at the cost of the minimal social life that I was having a few months ago, and this long weekend has been spent on my couch, unable to move, crying, locked in my own negative and scary thoughts. My question is, do you see people still very unwell at the 1-year mark who still fully recover or even mostly recover to the point of enjoying life at the 2-year mark? Thank you again from the bottom of my heart for spending your valuable time helping those of us that are still suffering. Okay. So she's 13 months off. She was having she was doing really well. Like in the first year, there were times where like she would write to me like she was doing quite well. But some stuff came in, and this is very, very common. I can think of a number of people where, like in the first number of months, they had certain kind of symptoms, and it seemed like they were pretty much on their way, but I've noticed many, many times that after a while other symptoms come in. A lot of times, like, you might get hit with the physical first, and you think, like, well, if I can get past this, this, and this, and then the mental comes in, or vice versa. Sometimes it's the mental. There was the young lady that I helped in Michigan. Hers, like, at first, the first year or so was like mental, very bad mental, and then that kind of all faded away, except for some of the fear, and then the physicals came in and got her for a good while. So it's all over the map. There are no rules. Okay, searching on benzo buddies. That's a dangerous thing to do. Like, you start searching for people's stories and this and that, because not everybody's on benzo buddies. Not everybody that's going through this is on benzo buddies. But you can't really use anybody else's story to gauge your own. I don't know 90% of them still on the forums many years later. You know, if they had not healed at a certain time, or at least had improved at a certain time. Now, this particular lady here, she improved like quite some time ago, but she's getting hit with other things now. And I guess they're not completely debilitating, but affecting social life, you know, and she can work a little bit. So, okay, her question is a specific question. Still very unwell at 1 year mark, still fully recovered or even mostly recovered to the point, the 2 year mark. At the 1 year mark, I had noticed improvement for about 2 months up to 12 months. But it was actually in the second year where things really started to get much, much, much better. Right at the 14, 15, it was like 14 and a half months at my grandson's birthday party, his first birthday party. I knew that day I was going to be well. And from that day on, I could just feel, it's almost daily, I could feel improvement, like in some way that I could tell, yes, I'm on my way. And from 14 and a half months up to 18, all of the mental stuff, the big bad fear, the depression, all of the nasty mental emotional stuff disappeared. And then from 18 months to 22, that's when, like, the cognition came back, my confidence, all of that. But the mental stuff, it was after a year really that I noticed, like, okay, it is going to get better now. I can tell I'm on my way. And it took another 4 to 5 months, like from 14 and a half to 18 to actually, for all of the nasty emotional mental stuff to fade. And then another few months for cognition and my mental capacity to return. So I guess the question is, fully recover. Do you see people still very unwell at the 1 year mark who still fully recover or even mostly recover to the point of enjoying life at the 2 year mark? Yes, I was one of them. I actually was one of them. It took me a really long time. I didn't have any kind of windows till at 10 months I started noticing in the morning some good stuff, like the depression would lift for a while and the fear, and but I still was very, very unwell. But I did notice, like, this something that seemed to be positive happening in me, that, like, it did appear as though maybe I was going in a positive direction. It felt that way. And then, like, in my second year is that's when the enormous amount of healing happened in me, especially the mental stuff. That's when it all lifted. It faded. So that's, yes, the answer is yes. I was one of them. I'm one of the, so she says 90%, so I'm one of the 10% that actually, but there's a lot more than, it's not, 90% is not, I don't know that that's a particularly valid number there. I think you don't know everyone's story. You don't always get everyone's story on Benzo Buddies or any of the Facebook groups. It's we all have our own story. No one else, we all have our own story. We all have our own symptoms. We all heal the way we heal, and that's just the way this is. It's we are all different. And I know it's hard not to read some of the scary things in the forums and Facebook groups, because as it reads in the Pillars and Truths, we are all we're very, very open to suggestion, especially when it's bad. When it's a bad suggestion. So that's kind of how it is in withdrawal. And the good stuff you read in the forums, you kind of tend to overlook because you're so scared. And that's just the way of withdrawal. But the answer to your question is yes, yes. And I'm one of them. So that's the answer. So, okay, that's the second email. So that's all I got for now. I'm not sure if I got another email or not. I think maybe one came right before I started here. But that's all I'll talk about right now. Back home again, it's nice. I got some bookkeeping work to do for the church. I'm the one that makes the deposit every week, and I wasn't here, so I had to go out and get that. I took it. It's funny because I took it to the bank, and then the last bank statement I got, they put on some fees for different things. I have no clue what it was for. I mean, I've been doing this for like 5 years now, and I never saw those fees before. So I took it in. I made the deposit actually with one of the tellers. I usually put it in the night deposit box. So I went and I said, well, could you explain this to me? And she called over another teller, and they're scratching their heads. They had no clue. They had no idea what these charges were for. So they took my phone number and said they were going to talk to, I guess, one of the managers there, and that he would get back to me, or they would just credit the church account with, the total amount of the fees. It's really weird. Like just the service fee, then fee for something, and then something about the night deposit, and it was crazy. Banks, there are a lot of institutions I don't trust. Banks are one of them. They seem to be able to like put a fee on anything. It's very, very weird. We have an account there. It's a no interest account. I mean, they're making money off of, the church's money. It's just weird. Banks, I have my own opinion about banks, like big banks, and this whole, like, who actually is in control of the globe, and where's the money come from, and that's a big reason I think about, why things are the way they are. But I guess that gets into other social issues, which I'm not supposed to be discussing, so I won't. So anyway, I'm almost at 27 minutes here. I'm going to go down and do some bookkeeping, I think, because I got a good bit to do. Since that's a downside of going anywhere for a few days. You get behind on some other things and you catch up on those. But there's not too much. I got to straighten out one of the people that it's actually Carl. He'll like purchase different things at different places, and then we get statements there, and I got this gobbledygook of all kinds of papers, and got to try to match them all up and figure out what kind of check I'm supposed to write. So it gets a little confusing sometimes, but it'll be something to do this afternoon. Listen to some music, do that. It'll be good. So, okay, I'm closing in on 28 minutes here. Monday, new week. Hope you're having a decent day. I promise you it will get better. As I said, I talked to someone that I had helped over a couple years. It was really, really bad, and she's well now. She's all happy and well, and she's gonna take part in this now. I think I think maybe she wanted to pick my brain a little bit. She had to hang up because she had something else that was pressing, like, at the moment. So I'm kind of wanting to sort of start I don't know if you would call it a coalition or a group of some sort where we can all be somehow connected. I don't know. I think that would be good, because as more people heal, you got Chris Page, who's better now, and you got this lady, and Dr. Jen and some others, that finally healed. So we'll see. I don't know. But it did my heart good that, like, she called and thanked me, and she's going to take part in this now. She's going to be someone you can go to, someone you can actually talk to on the phone, and she'll help you out. And yeah, so that's a good thing. So you do get well. I mean, you do get well. And Chris, he was at it for a while, and so was she. I mean, a lot of people, you do get better. I mean, even after a couple of years, it comes around. Your brain's figuring this out. It's healing. It just this is the greatest task of its life, probably. And it has to, like the drugs did something, and it has to work around, has to rewire. But it's neuroplastic. It knows what it's doing. It's doing it. It's healing. It just doesn't feel like it. Like it says in the Pillars and Truths, sometimes you're healing, but it just feels like you're not. And sometimes it even feels like you're going backwards. I understand that. It happened with me too. Sometimes I would feel like actually worse as time went on. The first 10 months this was horrible. But I get better, and you will too, I promise. So anyway, as always, I'm right here, and I will be right here. Bye-bye.